Welcome back to the show. Joe Colella, Chris Coquel, Joe and Coquel Show here on ESPN 106.3, ESPNWestPalm.com, the free ESPN app. We are broadcasting live from Kaiser University, and joining us now on site after celebrating several members joining his upcoming class as they build up this football program and get ready for play in 2018. Doug Socha, good enough to give us a couple of minutes here. And, Coach, we have talked to you as this has progressed, as you were announced as the head coach, the first head coach of this program, and now as you have continued to reach outside of the Palm Beaches and Treasure Coast and trying to build up Kaiser further and further and further. As you've started developing a reputation, as people know kind of what Kaiser is and what it's about, how has this process changed from, let's say, January now that we're into April?
Oh, thanks for having me on here, guys. I think first off, I think there's a lot of energy and enthusiasm, revolving around this university and this football program. So I think that there's some momentum that has really caught on, and I think people know that this thing's going to be for real, and we're going to be an awesome option for some kids here locally, and we're going to start right here in Palm Beach County. We made that promise back in January, and I think we're following through with that. We're going to continue to do that, and as we build the foundation. So we're certainly moving along the process. We're 50-plus signed. I think it's 54 exact, and we'll probably maybe another 10, 20 more until we feel, as long as those guys fit what we're doing, and then we'll be ready to go year one.
How have you gone about building out your roster? I know when we first started this, you were looking for guys in the trenches, really trying to build out a lot of toughness up front on both sides of the football. But as you have gone through, is it positional needs? Is it just going through and seeing what kids have reached out if they didn't necessarily find their destinations? What's been the process of finding these kids who may have fallen through the cracks around our area, and you've been continuing to do your homework on this?
I think it's been a combination of everything. I think our coaches have done a great job, and I think the local high school coaches and the surrounding area coaches have done a great job of giving us names and identifying those. And, we've got a standard of a profile of what we want to look for. And, guys like Coach Coquel have really helped us out in identifying the guys we want. But, from a positional standpoint, we've got to fill every need. There's a need at every position. I can't say that we've filled the special teams role of a kicker or punter yet. We'll get to that. But, obviously for us, our focus early on was up front trying to find a good pool of candidates to play on the line of scrimmage. And then, obviously, we've filled out from there. So I think we've really have met most of our needs. And, there's several more to fill. But the high school coach has been outstanding in helping us do that.
What's it mean to land a kid like a Kamar Downer and bring him back to the area? I mean, he was number 8 on our Papa John's list just 2 years ago.
Yeah. He's a great kid. I mean, that bottom line is he's had a path that's kind of hasn't been straight, and he's matriculated from FAU to another one now back here. He's a great kid, so I know what we're getting in him, in terms of a character kid, and I've known him for a long time. And then as a football player, he's a guy that instantly, he was a D1 signee. He's a Division I level athlete who's coming back here. We're going to have high expectations for him. To play, really, he's going to be a two-way player for us. You don't hear that much in college football, but we're going to play him on both sides.
You'll let him go both ways?
Absolutely.
Our
little
best Charles players. Woodson style?
He's going to do it. So,
two guys that, we know you. We know you like to go fast. That's your offensive style. I mean, I coached against you in an all-star game, and you were up-tempo faster than I've seen regular offense that have put in a long time. What does it mean to bring in guys like a Siobhan Taylor and a Leonard Woods and guys with those speed that you can move kind of all over the place in offense?
I mean, those guys are big pieces of the puzzle. We're going to have some depth at wide out if we want to move fast. And those guys are playmakers with the football on the perimeter, and it's going to be equal opportunity on the perimeter. So those guys are good. Leonard comes from a good program. He's a smart kid. Siobhan comes from another good program down in the south part of the county. Those are two big signees for us.
Joe Colella, Chris Coquel, joined by Doug Socha here on ESPN 106.3. You're live from Kaiser University. Kaiser continuing to sign players throughout the Palm Beaches and Treasure Coast, building up their program. The class of 2017 continuing to be built up. Football starting in 2018 for the Seahawks. Proud to be a part of this, and happy to continue to put a spotlight on this program being built up at the NAIA level. When you talk about Kamar Downer, the opportunity for him to play both ways, 54 kids right now signed, you're continuing to build out some of these position groups. As you're sitting there and you've got guys, let's say, along the defensive line, and you're continuing to sign kids at that line, how did these kids really kind of come up with and understand that the competition you're bringing in or some of the roster positions that you're filling out, how are those conversations going with, all right, so we're all set at this position with these guys, we're moving out of that. How do the kids take that in terms of who you're bringing in to be around them?
Well, I think, there's so much on the internet, so I think these kids know who they're signing, and I think that they know from day one when we started the recruiting process, this is going to be a competitive environment. It's going to be at the core of our values, and, these kids are going to have to compete for everything that they do. And, so we're not quite done at every position or really any position, but they know from day one it's going to be a competitive deal, and they're going to have to come in here and earn everything they get.
Now, next year, for people who don't understand how this process is going to work, because we keep hearing 2018, next year, how do you in your mind, how do you plan on keeping the kids getting frustrated come late October when they're still only going against themselves and still in the weight room and just practicing?
We're just going to have to preach it from day one. They've heard it from day one in the recruiting process that this is going to be a year of development. Number one, you're going to learn how to be a great college student. Number two, we're going to have a schedule that's player-friendly. We're not going to bang our heads against the wall 5 days in a row. We're going to go probably a Monday through Saturday schedule. We'll practice 3 of those days. We'll lift. So we've got a good plan put together for these kids, and it's going to be competitive. There's going to be some weeks that'll be a game-like week, but we've got to develop as a program in the weight room, in the classroom, in the community, in all the phases that we expect. So we're going to have to really keep it interesting, keep it moving, and change it up on them.
Doug Socha joining us here on ESPN 106.3. Kaiser University football coaches, they continue to build up their program. The inaugural season coming up in 2018, signing another group of players for their upcoming class. The number believed to be around 53 players joining the Seahawks roster. And as you work through that, as you said, building out and teaching these kids how to be college-level athletes, what else is on your roster, on your to-do list as you fill out these positions? You mentioned special teams, kicker and punter. What is the rest of April into May and all the? What are the positions that you're still looking to fill out on this roster?
Pretty much, we've got a handful of candidates that are really what we see as the best available still. So we're going to try and target those positions. It's every position. I don't know if there's a kicker on that list, but I know this month of April is going to be big for us as a coaching staff. Every Wednesday we're going to go out on the road locally and continue to figure out what's left, get on to our 2018 recruiting. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays, all football and recruiting for us as a staff as we start to put together our offense, defense, and kicking game plan. And then we've got to hire a couple more coaches as we get into May, spring recruiting, and then into June for summer, and then as we bring this group in. But so we've got a good plan, a good schedule ahead of us. But we're still recruiting. So if guys are out there listening, we're still looking for every needs. We've got scholarship money left. We want kids that want to compete in the classroom, kids that want to, win.
You bring up you're still recruiting. What's something about Kaiser that people might not know? Because I can tell you this is my first time on campus, and this place is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a hidden little gem on here.
Yeah.
What's something that maybe someone else who hasn't been here wouldn't know about
Well,
Kaiser
I think
University?
exactly what you just said. There's such a history with Kaiser University from an academic standpoint. We've got great academic programs. We've got small class sizes. There's going to be great learning support and teacher support for our students. We've got great competitive there's other sports here that compete at a high level in NAIA. I think that's for sure something that the average listener might not know. And then obviously we have a football program. So there's a lot of good things going on here, and it really gives kids an opportunity to achieve in the classroom, get their academics, get their degree, and compete on the field and play football.
Doug Socha joining us here on ESPN 106.3. Again, Kaiser football, Kaiser University continuing to sign players around the Palm Beaches and Treasure Coach, we appreciate the time. Congratulations on another group. Continuing to build up this program. We'll check in with you again real soon, all right?
Right, thank you.
You again real soon, all right?
Right, thank you.
You again real soon, all right?